In the middle of the vast ocean, where the deep blue water connects with the endless horizon, is the vibrant world of marine life and the persistent working life of humans. From schools of dolphins swimming freely to large ships overcoming storms to go out to sea, the fishing journey is not only a story of making a living, but also an epic of people who have spent their whole lives attached to the sea. Let's follow the fishermen on a day drifting in the waves to better understand the hardship and beauty of traditional fishing. Under the deep water, thousands of fish are swimming among the coral reefs, creating a lively dance in the middle of the ocean. On deck, the fishermen quickly get into position. Each blue net is lowered into the sea, stretching out along the waves. Each movement requires precision and coordination, because just a small mistake can put the whole trip at risk. Marking buoys are firmly fixed, helping to determine the location of the net in the deep water. The job seems simple, but it is an important step that determines the success of the catch. Under the deep water, a giant net is slowly unrolled, spreading out horizontally across the seabed. Every movement is silent, but calculated. After many hours of trapping under the sea, the heavy net began to be pulled up. The movements were slow but sure. Each turn of the winch was evenly rotated on the deck. From afar, flocks of seabirds flew around as if they had smelled the fresh fish from the deep sea. A good sign that this catch could be very large. The late afternoon sunlight shone on the water, reflecting on the sparkling net, signaling that the moment of harvest was very near. The net was slowly pulled onto the deck, weighed down by the weight of tons of fresh fish inside. Each stream of water flowing out of the net seemed to carry with it the distinctive smell of the ocean. The fishermen concentrated, adjusting the pulling rhythm, ensuring that the net did not tear or the fish spilled out. A practiced operation, repeated over many fishing seasons, had now become a reflex. Finally, the net was opened, thousands of fish poured into the hole. A lively stream, heavy with the smell of salt and sweat. The sound of fish hitting the ship's walls, the sound of chains pulling, mixed with the urgent steps of the fishermen, all created the symphony of a successful day of fishing. When the fish have been put into the cold storage, it is also the time for the fishermen to check and mend each torn net after a long day of work. Each knot is woven with calloused hands, quietly but patiently, the way they have preserved the fishing profession over the years. The work is still there, the sea still calls every morning. For them, each trip to sea is not only to earn a living, but also to extend a lasting love for the ocean. Despite the drizzling rain and slippery deck, the fishermen still held on step by step, pulling the heavy net onto the deck. Inside were all kinds of sea fish, big and small, crowded together in the wet net. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the moment of harvest, after so many hours of drifting and waiting in the open sea. Not a word of complaint, only concentration and perseverance, because they understood that today's achievements were the life for tomorrow. The ship slowly cut through the waves, plunging into the distant, hazy sea. The wind blew hard, the waves crashed against the bow of the ship, signaling a difficult journey. However, for those who have spent their lives at sea, this is a familiar image. Each trip out to sea is a time to face nature, but also a time to return to their ancestral profession. They set out with hope to bring back full holds of fish, warm and full meals for their families on the mainland. On deck, the atmosphere became tense. The large net was spread out, and the fishermen urgently checked each section, making sure that every knot was secure. This was a step that required caution and experience, because a small mistake in the deep sea could sweep away a precious catch. The sound of machinery begins to resonate. The wheels gradually release the net into the sea. The first drop of the day is also the beginning of a silent dialogue between humans and the ocean. Underneath the deep blue water, thousands of fish are moving in dense schools. They swim in swirling currents like a living current, powerful, synchronized, and elusive. Those rhythmic movements are survival instincts, but also unintentionally lead them into the encirclement of humans that is gradually closing in. In that quiet space, the silent chase between the ocean and the sea is approaching its climax. On deck, the air was as tense as a bowstring. Meters of heavy nets were rolled up, pulling with them the weight of tons of fish struggling inside. On the surface of the sea, the water suddenly becomes lively. Small waves roll in and the flapping of seabirds' wings. The blue net is slowly rising, heavy and bulging. Below, thousands of fish are struggling, creating a powerful, almost explosive mass of movement in the middle of the water. This is the moment when fishermen can see from afar that today's catch will be a memorable one. As soon as the net touched the deck, tons of bright red fish began to pour out like a living stream. Each fish sparkled silver and red in the sunlight, creating a scene that was impossible to take your eyes off. The fishermen quickly directed the fish into the holding compartment. Each pull of the net was decisive and precise. All was done with a practiced routine because they understood that this was the decisive moment. It's not just about fish, it's about the hard days at sea, the effort, the hope, the life that continues to be nourished by the sea. Fishing doesn't always require machines. On small boats, each meter of net is pulled by the fishermen's strong hands. They work closely together. Each pull is decisive and regular, as if they have been familiar with the sea since childhood. Under the scorching sun, sweat soaks their backs, but their eyes still shine because they know that each pull is a step closer to success. A step closer to a full meal, to the joy of a good harvest. Right next to the ship, the sea surface was covered with fish. Small nets were thrust deep into the struggling fish, then quickly pulled up full and heavy. Water splashed to the rhythm of the strong thrashing of thousands of fish, a scene that was both chaotic and pleasing to the eye. The last catch was being brought up to the deck, and the whole boat seemed to shake under the weight of the tons of sea creatures. The fishermen put all their strength into it, some holding, some pulling, some scooping, all working together in the bright sunlight and the sound of the fish splashing. Night fell, but the work at sea did not stop. In the yellow light of the ship's lights, the nets continued to be raised, dark, wet, heavy, and cold. Fishermen wearing waterproof jackets, steadfastly holding on in the night sky, carefully controlling the rope step by step, holding the nets tight so that the fish would not escape. After a long journey at sea, the last tons of fish were finally brought to the deck. Streams of fish poured out of the nets, flooded the deck, and then gathered in the hold like a silvery stream. The fishermen closely supervised, ensuring that every step was carried out quickly to keep the fish fresh and properly preserved. This was the result of hours of continuous work, a worthy moment of perseverance, courage, and faith in sticking to the sea. The ocean is vast, fishing is hard, but in every wave, every catch, we see life and hope. Thank you for following our journey, the journey of resilient fishermen, living with the sea and for the sea. If you find the video meaningful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying us in the real footage of working life at sea. See you again on the next trips out to sea.